I think being authentic is the best way to go. There's so many people that try and do the trash talk and like play this persona where it comes across so like it's like so cringe because it's like it's forced. You're just not good at it. But then, you have somebody like a Nick Diaz who is just like, I don't even think he's trying to talk like trash. It's just like whatever it comes in his head, it comes out. But then you have other people that's just like, they say stuff and it's just like, it makes me like you less. So I think for me, I get kind of shy, but my husband loves to do all that stuff. So he talks for me. Like, here, you can have access to my social media.
And then you get up there, they're like, you're like, oh, I said that.
I did.
All right, that's right. When I'm working or studying and I reach for my coffee, I always smile when I look over and see my Playbook Products mug. This one actually depicts the game and the play that Steph Curry broke the all-time three-point record. Their coasters are awesome conversation starters for parties, pre-games, soirees, what have you. This beautiful, classy slate coaster actually depicts the Santonio Holmes sideline touchdown catch to win the Super Bowl. They make for the perfect, inexpensive, unique gift for holiday season. Your gift will be the talk of the town, guaranteed. Check them out at Playbook Products on Instagram. Cheers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Outside the Stadium. Here with us today is Bellator Flyweight Jena Bishop. Jena, how are you on this fine evening?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time. I always give a shout out when people come on the show when it's not like, prime time. This is 9 p.m.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, that's like pretty much the only time that I have available, really.
No, for sure. And so are you getting used to, the way that sounds? Bellator Flyweight Jena Bishop? Because, you are really you're 2 years old in the mixed martial arts world, correct?
Yeah, I think you're like the first person that's like said it like officially like that. So I was just like, oh yeah, that's kind of weird. But yeah, like 2 years since I like really started focusing on MMA and like switched from just being a jiu-jitsu athlete. So I've had like 4 fights, like really, but my 4 fights were all within a year time. So I've tried to stay busy.
Yeah, absolutely. I had an inkling that I'd be like the first one to make you hear that because you haven't fought yet for them, and it's just
Yeah.
it's super fresh. But yeah, glad I'm the one to crack the egg.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy, but I'm really like it's cool to hear. I'm really excited. I can't wait to like get my first fight done, but I have it all scheduled, so I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. And I feel like it's almost a great weird match having you on this podcast because your MMA career, if I'm not mistaken, was something that was born during COVID, so to speak, as was this podcast.
Yeah.
Now, here we are 2 years later. So talk about that a little bit. I know I saw that working with Kat Zingano and helping her prepare for a fight and speaking to her also factored into that decision. What really made you want to, transition when you've been so successful just in the grappling world?
I think but it's something I've always wanted to do. I was like, even though my life took me the grappling route, the jiu-jitsu route, like for the majority of my career, it was in the back of my head that at least once, like I should at least fight just once, just because why not? It's like, even if I don't want to make that a full-time thing, there's a lot of, I think, jiu-jitsu athletes that have that in their mind or like have wanted to do that or had wanted to, like my professors fought in Bellator, I think twice, and it's like not his career path, but like, it's just something I wanted to do. And then just being around a lot of really good people and getting kind of frustrated with certain things within just my jiu-jitsu career and the community in general, kind of was like, you know what, I'm ready for something different, something new. And I wanted like a new challenge. And then it just like so happened that I was around just the right people to make it happen and kind of force me and give me that little nudge that I needed.
That's awesome. I mean, I have to ask, somebody who's not in the jiu-jitsu community, could you maybe, point out what were those things that kind of just, I guess, irked you?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of politics and things that go into jujitsu, and I have been doing it for so long and chasing certain like goals still that, I've had won world championships, and but there's still like little things that I wanted to do, but realizing that, even if I do everything I could in my power, and it could still be taken away from me just because of weird political stuff, or I don't know, just other drama and just things that are out of my control. And so I'm like, I just want to do something and try and like take back my like control of my like destiny a little bit more, like, and obviously it's like there's going to be similar things that happen in like I've seen it happen in MMA, like, judging and different things can, really hurt you or help you in your career. And nothing's guaranteed, but I was just like, at least, I'll try something in a different lane and just see if that like, and it's been refreshing for me. Like there's definitely been some frustrating things getting started and not like people keep turning down fights with me. And I'm like, how do I get started if nobody will fight me? I just need to get one fight. And then it's just like, I got that fight and they're like, it should be easier after you get one. And I got my first one and then it still was hard again. And it was just like, so frustrating, but we got it done. We got the 4 fights that I needed to get in with LFA. And so it's like, there's always going to be new challenges, but I was like, at least it's not like the same old that I've been doing for like 15 years.
No, that's really great to hear. And I mean, that actually answers one of the things I wanted to ask you because, as somebody coming from like the BJJ world going into MMA, I was wondering if people were like, oh, she's not a mixed martial artist. I want to fight her. I want to teach her a lesson. Or is it more like, oh, like shit, she's got like a superpower in her back pocket, which normal people who are like on this level of MMA really don't have. It's almost like a trump card.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel when you're in the octagon, that you have something that if they knock you down, it's like, all right, I'll stay here.
Yeah, I think that was like the case for me. People will be like, oh, she's like really good at jujitsu, so I don't want to like fight him. I'm like, but yeah, but I'm brand new at like all the other stuff, like I had done a little bit of striking when I first started training jujitsu, but nothing, that was like 15 years ago. I did like some like very like low level kickboxing. So I'm like, I'm brand new at the striking thing too. And then you also have to have like just putting it all together. It's very different. And so, but I do feel like it's kind of great because it's like, yeah, I think being confident in your ground game makes it to where I have to worry less about like being more free, like on the feet, and if I'm trying to like use like my striking more, it's like, oh, what if they shoot on me? Like, okay, that's fine, I'll be on my back, that's fine. Like I wouldn't prefer to not be on my back, but like at the same time I have plenty of skills to like get me like have a lot of offense from there and a lot of opportunities to like still win the fight.
Yeah,
it is a nice relief.
definitely. So what has been more challenging? Because I feel like there's 2 aspects that you really probably have to dive into. Is one, obviously, like the striking, like you said, you haven't really struck probably from years ago, but also the offensive wrestling. Because just to give an example, like watching someone like Mackenzie Dern, probably like I feel like she's somewhat of a pioneer from like a really a BJJ girl who's fighting MMA now. Like watching her a couple of years ago, maybe in the Amanda Hebas fight, when she's got this great jiu-jitsu, but it's like if the other fighter doesn't want to go there, she doesn't really have the takedowns to get the fight there. To now she's made it a part of her game. Which aspect, striking or like turning your strength into offense, have you been like working on more?
I mean, I would say like striking is probably like the biggest thing because I know that that's where I needed the most improvement. That's where like the biggest holes in my game. But then at the same time, like, I mean, obviously I need to know wrestling. That's what I don't understand with a lot of jiu-jitsu athletes that like think that it's like you just been pulling guard for years and you think you're gonna go into MMA and like do that. Like people aren't just gonna fall down for you. Like, unless your striking is good enough to knock them down, I don't know. But people aren't just, they're going to do everything they can to avoid that. So, but I had been working on my wrestling for a while, and it's something that kind of has come, like people used to ask me all the time when I was competing in jiu-jitsu, like, oh, did you wrestle? Did you used to wrestle? I'm like, no, I just, like I just have a really grindy style that like wrestling kind of like fit into my game quite a bit. And I was, I grew up in the Midwest. There's like a ton of really good wrestling around me. So a lot of my training partners coming up were really good wrestlers. And I remember having to like getting a lot of experience going with them and working. I would always want to like grab them, pull them aside, like work my takedowns and stuff, even though I pulled guard a lot in jiu-jitsu, but I was always like wrestling up from the bottom and things like that. So I think that's somewhat that I'm still working on quite a bit, but I didn't think I needed as much work as with my striking, but I feel like it's all kind of getting pretty proficient at this point.
No, it sounds like you're definitely ahead of the curve. So, kudos. And the last thing on this point, just like mentally, I mean, I'm like pretty much a noob when it comes to, jiu-jitsu competitions, but is there a difference between like the feeling internally when you step into an octagon versus when you step into a jiu-jitsu competition? Because as an outsider, it kind of looks, jiu-jitsu looks like at a little slower paced, more methodical, kind of like chess, checkers, whereas in MMA, I feel like the blood's boiling. Is that true?
It's funny for me, and my professor said the same thing. Actually, I've talked to several people that have done jiu-jitsu and MMA, and I feel less nervous to fight MMA than I do going into a jiu-jitsu match. It's like, I don't know why, but there's something about, especially at like a big tournament, it's like, but I think it's because it's like, when I go into a jiu-jitsu tournament, I'm fighting other black belts that are really, really good too. And so it's like, it's like, there's a lot more to worry about, even though there's less to worry about because I don't have to deal with like the other aspects of mixed martial arts. But for me, it's just like, I don't know, it's a weird calmness going into a fight, like versus going into a jiu-jitsu match, which seems so backwards, but I don't know. I just get the nerves. And even I thought, but I've done like, like pro jiu-jitsu matches where it's just like me versus one person, like on a like stage, and it's just, you're the only match going. So I thought, like, oh, maybe the crowd would make me nervous or something, but I never even think about the crowd, or like, it's like not a thing for me. Like, I don't really, once I'm in there, it's just like, I don't even pay attention to that really. It's like, it's me, I hear, try and listen for my coaches, and that's about it. But like with a jiu-jitsu tournament, especially like the world championships, it's like a ton of mats, there's people, like a lot of people, and not the whole focus isn't on just your match, but I don't know why that the energy just like makes me so much more nervous.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, are you ready for like kind of the superstar aspect of mixed martial arts where it's also, the showmanship, how you talk, how you get on the mic and how you speak, or are you going to be more of like the reserve? Because I feel like there's two ways to go. There's two personalities.
Yeah.
You know which way you're going to take?
I think for me, I've said this to a lot of my friends that have gone into it too. It's like I think being authentic is the best way to go. There's so many people that try and do the trash talk and like play this persona where it comes across so like, it's like so cringe because it's like, it's forced. You're just not good at it. It's like, it's not real. But then, you have somebody like a Nick Diaz who is just like, I don't even think he's trying to talk like trash. It's just like whatever it comes in his head, it comes out. Like, it's like there's no filter. He just says what's on his mind. And
Natural.
it's like so awesome. But then you have other people that's just like, they say stuff and it's just like, it makes me like you less. So I think for me, I'm never one. I like to talk trash, but like kind of just to my friends, like whatever. And so I don't know, like, I just want to be true to myself because I'm not going to try and be one thing or not. Like whatever comes out will just be me.
All right, we'll keep the receipts. We'll check in down the line and see if it sticks. But I'll accept the answer for now.
I know. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are like, you need to, like, even when I couldn't get fights, like with LFA, they're like, you should get on and start calling people out. I'm like, who am I calling out? Like, what am I going to say? It's like, they're going to be like, shut up. Like, you're just like, you know, I'm like, I don't even know what to do, how to do that. And I get kind of shy, but my husband loves to do all that stuff. So he talks for me in a lot of ways.
Give them like the Twitter account when people
I
start.
know. That's what I just need to, like, here, you can have access to my social media.
And then you get up there, they're like, you're like, oh, I said that.
I did.
All right, that's right.
Whatever. And I have yeah, like Angela Hill's like a really good friend, and like she's really good at like a lot of that stuff, I think. And she's always telling me, like encouraging me. She's like, you should call this person out. You should say that you want to fight them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just so awkward for me. Like I can't even like the face off, like when we do the stare down, I'm like, I don't know. You know, people are like, oh, they wouldn't even look at me in the eye. And I'm like, I will, but like it's very awkward. I'm like, I don't want to pretend to be like real angry and mad at you or super tough. It's like, let's just go fight. Like, I don't need to like, I don't know, do this theatrics, but I know that sells fights. So like maybe I might have to start doing a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, and you could not call it anybody, but you know, the other side of the coin is what like it's not likely that you're not going to get called out. So you'll be
Yeah,
good.
and that's fine. I'll respond.
Yeah.
Like I would love that. It's like if somebody else starts it, I'm happy to engage.
Awesome. So moving on, you know, 14 years of jiu-jitsu experience, now 2 years of MMA experience. I don't even know if you've considered this, but you probably have had to, maybe like when you're sitting in bed and you can't find any sleep. If, you know, martial arts it didn't exist, what would your career be?
Man, that's a good question. There's a lot of things because I never really thought that like this would be where I was doing when I wanted to do like hair and makeup like cause that's like what like I really wanted to do when I remember being in high school going through like, oh, what am I gonna go to college for? And I'm like, okay, I went to school for business, but like I even stopped because I was like, I don't know what, I don't want to keep spending money and not know what I'm doing with this. So that's like my passion was always like makeup, like I don't know why, and fashion. So it's not really the same.
No, polar opposites, but
Yeah.
fascinating nonetheless.
It's like, yeah, and I don't even like get to like do my hair and makeup most of the time anymore because I'm just always training. It's looking like a hot mess.
All right, well, welcome in the press conferences. There's your op, you know?
I know. I used to do like when I was in me and my sister is a hairstylist and we used to like team up and do like weddings. I would do makeup, she would do hair. Like that was like something I did get paid for.
Wow. I heard those start like when you do that for weddings, you're like showing up at like 7 a.m. Is that true?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes earlier. And
Yeah.
sometimes it was annoying because we would have to wake up like the bridal party because they wouldn't be ready. And I'm like, yo, I have to have like you're on a schedule and we're on a schedule too. It's like very tight. Yeah, weddings isn't fun to do though.
That would be so stressful for me. It's like those things that you don't like I feel like, you know, jumping off of a cliff, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Getting people ready for like their wedding day, like shit,
Oh yeah.
too much responsibility. I don't need that myself.
Yeah, it's stressful. And then you have brides to be like, I'm like, okay, with the rest of your, bridal party, do you care how the look is? Oh no, whatever they want, let you do. And then you like do a look on somebody and they're like, oh no, like I don't like that. You need to change her, this and that. And I'm like, I just spent like 40 minutes on this. Like, I don't have the time.
She looks too good. She can't outshine me. Kind of like fuck
Dude,
that up there.
that is like basically exactly what would happen.
Damn. That is crazy. All right. Last question before I let you go is tell, you know, the people who watch you in the octagon, the people who watch you compete, something that they'd be surprised to find out about you, not as a fighter, just as a human being.
Oh man. I don't know. That's a good question. Because I feel like I'm pretty open. I think most people know most things about me.
Nah, everyone says that at first, and then they're thinking about it. They're like, "Oh no, I was just trying to get out of that."
No, I really like. I'm like, what do I like? my whole life, it's like, I
Pet
don't
peeves,
know.
secret snacks, weird hobbies.
I don't know. I mean, my hobbies is like I train all the time. I don't even have time for hobbies. I'm just constantly training or hanging out, playing with my dogs.
Multiple dogs.
I have 2 Shiba Inus. Yeah.
Shiba Inu.
Which if you follow me on social media, you see a lot of one of them because the other one's she's old and shy. Huge
How,
family. There's like nothing that like secretive about me.
give us a fun fact about your husband.
He is an executive for a tech company here in San Diego, and because everybody always just assumes he just does jujitsu like with me, like, but he actually runs a really pretty big startup company that when we moved out here, I think they had like 12 employees and now they're over like 400 and something. So,
Yeah.
that's kind of nice. It helps me to finance this very expensive hobby or career now.
Maybe they want to sponsor you. I put a little sponsorship on your shorts.
I know they should. I don't know why he hasn't. I think he's just like afraid of like the nepotism or whatever, people saying something about it. Because he is the CMO, so he's like, yeah, chief marketing guy. That would be the perfect person to talk to, but
All right, I'm not saying it, but I'm not saying it. If you did, you know what I mean.
you might see it on my banner for the next fight.
All right. Well, one more time. This has been Jena Bishop. She is fighting. Oh God, I hope I get this name right. Elina Kallionidou on February 25th. Bellator 291 for her debut in Bellator. Jena, thank you so much for your time. And Elina, if you ever see this, I hope I didn't botch your name.
Thank you.